is so good, beyond all words that one could say about it, that we can come together here on a beautiful spot of earth and water and sky. To meet together, work together, sit together, to attend and question into the human mind. Yesterday, walking through a sunny field in the balmy air, the earth was moist and very soft to the touch of the feet. And here and there, among all the yellow and brown stalks and bent over grasses, the ground was taking on this marvelous green hue. And this afternoon, walking toward the lake, everything covered white. Yesterday there was not a thought of blizzards or the past winter. And walking through this blustery wind with dancing snowflakes, the gray lake hardly visible other shore, all shrouded in mist. In that there is no spring. There's only that. Listen. Most of us have heard that a few days ago, a little 12-year-old boy died who had lived in a plastic bubble all his life. A bubble that was created for him to keep out disease, to keep him sterile. I was wondering whether not all of us are moving around in a bubble. Bubble of words, of past memories, endless images about ourselves and others. How we've been trained to think, to act, to behave, to feel, or maybe rather not to feel. A bubble of self-isolation. That little boy was asked once, so I was told, what he would like to do most. And he said to walk barefoot on the grass. This bubble in which we live, this bubble of thoughts and images and past experiences. Of me and my problems, fears, can it burst? So that we can actually walk barefoot on the ground? Let us say a few things about ways of being in a retreat, attaching to this immediately a warning that what is proposed or suggested is not a conditioned way of becoming a good retreat attender or participant, something to work toward. These things are said so one can observe in the light of what is being said, what actually happens in one's moment-to-moment ways. A retreat like this is held in almost complete silence. There are some people here who have never been to a retreat or have not been to one in a long time. For those of you who go frequently, can you bear with it, to hear things over? Or can you maybe hear them with new ears? Ears that touch in inner silence. The silence of no judgment, no comparison. No opposition. Let us all agree not to talk during a retreat, except of course during meetings, or if there is an emergency. If there's an emergency, if you have to speak to someone, please take that person somewhere, indicate where you can talk together, where you're not heard or seen by the rest of the participants, if possible. For all other occasions, there are pencils and pads located all over the halls and different rooms. You may find it inconvenient at times to write, and yet there's also something about needing to keep oneself brief. You may find that there's something that happens if one does not talk for 7 days. Enormous amounts of energy go into our daily talking and listening to talk and reacting. Can this energy be freely gathered in questioning, attending, without words? One word about writing notes. Also, those, write them only when you really have to. It can become a real new device to feel one's existence as a note writer. Please do sign the notes that you do write so people know where they're coming from and can respond. It's also already been mentioned how important it is that one walk and move and do things quietly. It is to keep noise down, but also in observing and listening to the noise and sounds that one makes inevitably or naturally or thoughtlessly. Yes. With that comes a deepening of listening and attending, and a deepening of the inner silence. It may sound paradoxical, but it happens that way. If you listen to the noise you make, with that comes a silence, as you can't listen without silence. And if one moves and does things attentively, quietly, that inner silence communicates itself to everyone else. And yet to be careful not to develop a new image of oneself as the silent one. It happens so quickly, and it is good to see it and not fall for it. It was mentioned that close to the dormitories are many bathrooms. To open doors really carefully. Take your time. The time is there. If you really open a doorknob, move it with great care and attention, then that is all time or no time. It is the whole thing. and it will not disturb, even though there are some sounds which are unavoidable. That if we're lost in thought about whatever, then noise happens. To see that, to become aware of it, without judgment, is that possible? A few words about the posture of the eyes, which people often ask about, sometimes have problems with, particularly at the beginning of doing this sitting. And it's good to keep, during sitting, to keep the eyes open, not completely shut. Keeping them completely shut very easily results in dreamlike or trance-like states and phenomena that occur. To have them completely open, too much visual happenings to which one attaches thoughts, ideas. So try to have the eyes half open, half closed. If you sit against the divider, they may be partly up into the divider, but find out what the least stressful or straining position is for the eyes, to let some light in, not trying to see anything. If you want to know how everything looks, the mat and everything around you, take a look before you start sitting, and then there's no need to focus. There may be eye strain because we do want to see, to make sure where we are, what's happening. This is an ancient habit. Trying to secure ourselves through the eyes, through vision. It's an inborn impulse to focus on something that's moving, so it may be difficult in the beginning while the walking line is moving, not to look at everyone who is moving within one's field of vision. The impulse is there because it's for our security sake. But people who are moving around are not wild bears who may threaten our survival there. Yourself. So is it possible to keep the eyeballs from shifting around while the eyes are partly open? And if this can happen, if this can take place, you will find there's at least a possibility for the brain to come to quiet, not always wonder what is happening, and look constantly for the familiar. This work is to question into what is not familiar, what is not knowable and not known. When you take a walk, you may or may not keep the eyes down. But if you look up, you happen to see the lake or the tree, the stars, a little river bubbling over the rocks. It's a state of mind immediately one of trying to grasp something, hold on to it, get something. Are the eyes and ears in touch with this inner stillness and silence, in which there is no wanting? During mealtime, can one watch carefully one's habitual ways of relating to food, the greed that comes up, the inattention in wanting more or eating quickly, gulping things down without chewing. It's not meant to tell you it's good for you to chew your food. But how do we eat? Can this come really into the light of attention and awareness? For moment to moment? You do not need to rush through the meal. If you want to eat slowly, be free to do that, even though other people are eating quickly. I don't know whether there's some schedule to be observed, but you will notice there's a certain rhythm to the whole retreat of work that needs to get done, but there is no need to rapidly gulp down the food. If one has this habit, why can one watch it so it reveals itself? And discover that there are different ways of eating. In which attention and awareness may take the place of greed.
And will present concrete suggestions at an extraordinary meeting next month. Since Parliament failed to approve the official Social Democratic candidate contesting the federal cabinet election.
A few words about sleep. We all know that we have very definite ideas about how much sleep we need or don't need. Can all these ideas for the time of a retreat sort of go into abeyance, so one doesn't really know and is experimental and open about it? One is very tired, exhausted at the end of the formal sitting. There's nothing shameful about going to sleep, getting rest. One may not be able to sleep, but one can find that out for oneself. Do what one feels needs to be done at the moment, and be free to change one's mind if conditions change. Can one become aware how much one is influenced by what other people do? One comes to the dorm or the bedroom and no one is there. How does one feel? One may go back to the sitting room, just because one doesn't want to be the only one sleeping. And maybe sitting down one isn't sleepy anymore. It may happen. Just the walk up the stairs and down may have been refreshing. Or to take a walk outside. One can walk for an hour. quietly listening, questioning, attending, not knowing. And wakes up in the middle of the night and can't go back to sleep. This room is always there for sitting. When we want to prove something to oneself, can one see that? Or prove something to others? Is one doing that? Or does one need to find out what all of this is? All these mental motions and images that hold sway over us? Who am I? Apart from wanting to do what people expect of me. What will, in my belief or opinion, make me a good person? Who am I? What is tiredness? What is this moment if I don't know what I'm supposed to do? One feels at a loss of what to do in the absence of outer compulsion or rules. Can one question into this loss? What is it?
Was a spacing
Who
of
or
roughly
what?
1/8 of the wavelength. So you can see that
Not
monster
knowing.
is almost a small aircraft. But an
Really at a loss?
I leave this to your personal wit and skill to find a
One has sat late,
coax cable. The vertical width can be anything from
is tired in the morning when the wake-up bell rings. What is tiredness? Find out. You find out that most of it is a lot of ideas how terrible it is and what it's going to be like. And thinking how many hours one said, how few hours of sleep one got. So much of our misery and our weighty moods are connected with our thoughts about what happened to us or what is happening to us now, feeling a victim of this or that. Getting up tired is no problem. One may also continue sleeping. This seems to be the right thing. May not be. Find out. But getting up tired is no problem. They sit and question and the tiredness blows over. What is it? Even if it doesn't blow over, one can question and attend to this very thing without calling it by any name.
Receivers are not really designed for single sideband reception. They only feature what is called a BFO.
Names, remembrances, anticipations.
Selectable sideband changing facility. If you really
These are the bubbles.
the wrong set there, Fred, it isn't easy to choose a sideband.
Who am I, or what is there, or what is in room? Without all that. Freely facing the insecurity. nothing to hold on to. Experiencing the breathing. What is it? If I have no word,
with a bit of patience, you will find the trick how to operate them.
no word for myself, no word for the others, no word for what I'm doing. And what is everything? I don't know.
As far as finding sideband stations, Bob, it shouldn't be anything.
Qu'il y ait des gens qui ont une capacité de négociation et des gens
Please set up the sitting room, and at the next bell there'll be a period of love.